My wife told me she was going to therapy every Friday. I paid for her sessions, encouraged her to heal, and took our kids to the park so she'd have time. One night, I forgot my wallet and drove back to the house. Her car was still there. I walked in, quietly, and heard laughter from upstairs. A man's voice said, "He really thinks you're getting better?" She replied, "He's just a wallet with feet." I filmed it. That same week, I sent the video to her therapist, whose name was definitely not Mark. Then I changed the locks, froze the cards, and went silent. She's still in therapy. We've been in Erie, Pennsylvania, for 9 years. Moved here after our second kid was born. We got a small 2-story house on a quiet street. Good schools. Cheap enough to make it. I work full-time managing a tire shop. She stayed home after the kids were born. It was supposed to be temporary. Just until the youngest started kindergarten. But then it stretched out. And out. She always said she wasn't ready to go back yet. Too much stress. I didn't push. Around the end of last year, she started acting more withdrawn. Snapped easier at the kids. Forgot stuff. Burned dinner. Slept a lot but said she was tired all the time. I thought maybe she was depressed. I asked her if she was okay. She said no. Said she felt empty. I didn't know what to do. I told her I loved her. That we'd figure it out. I offered to take on more. I already handled most of the morning routine and bedtimes, but I added more weekend outings so she could get space. It still didn't help much. Then one night she brought up therapy. "I think I need to talk to someone," she said. "A real therapist." She said she wanted someone private. Not part of a big clinic. Said her friend used a guy named Alan Whitmore, who ran a solo practice out of an office near Peach Street. She said he didn't take insurance, cash or Venmo only. Fridays at 4:15. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "It's just for me. Please don't make this harder than it is." I didn't. I supported it. Every Friday, she got dressed like she was going to a job interview. Hair done, makeup on, clean jeans, boots. Left the house around 3:45. I'd pick the kids up from school, pack them snacks, and take them to Frontier Park or Mill Creek Mall. We had our little routine. She'd get home a little after 6:30. Sometimes later. I never questioned it. I asked about the sessions. She always gave short answers. "It's going well." I cried a lot. "Alan says I'm holding in too much." I just nodded and told her I was proud of her. I paid $160 a week for those sessions. Sometimes more. She'd ask for $200 and say she needed a longer appointment. I sent the money every single time. We weren't rich, but I made it work. She told me it helped her feel like she was doing something for herself. So imagine this, one Friday in October, I'm with the kids at a fall event. We get there, I reach for my wallet, and it's not in my pocket. I remembered I left it on the kitchen counter. I told the kids I'd be right back. They were with other parents, so I felt okay leaving for 20 minutes. When I got back to the house, her car was in the driveway. I stopped. Just sat there for a second in my truck. My heart started pounding. Maybe she forgot something and ran back inside. But it was already 4:10. She was supposed to be in her session by now. I parked across the street. Didn't knock. Didn't make noise. The door was unlocked. I stepped in and listened. The house was quiet for a few seconds. Then I heard laughter. Upstairs. A man's laugh. Deep. Not someone I knew. Then his voice, "He really thinks you're getting better?" Her voice followed, sharp and mean and nothing like the woman I married. "He's just a wallet with feet." They both laughed again. I felt something break inside me. But I didn't move. I pulled out my phone and hit record. Held it at my side. The voices were clear enough to hear. I didn't need video. I needed proof. I stood there for another minute, then left. Quietly. Went back to the kids. Smiled. Pretended nothing happened. But inside, everything changed. Every part of me was done with her. That night, while she was asleep, I got on her laptop. I knew her password. I searched her email for Alan Whitmore. Nothing. But I found something else. A string of messages to someone named Mark. Gmail account. Calendar invites. Filthy messages. Things I can't unsee. She called him Dr. M in one message, and joked about charging by the hour. Another message had a selfie of her wearing a blouse she usually wore to therapy. I searched the phone number she used to text her therapist. It wasn't a business line. It was a cell. I looked it up. It was registered to a guy named Mark E _______. Worked for a landscaping business in a neighboring town. Had a wife and 2 kids. I took screenshots of everything. I didn't answer. Then she called. Over and over. I finally texted one thing: "I know about Mark. I know you never went to therapy. I heard what you said. You called me a wallet with feet." I attached the video. Then I blocked her number. She tried using other numbers. Called my job. DM'd me from fake accounts. Said it was all a mistake. Said it was just a roleplay. Claimed it wasn't what it sounded like. But I already knew. I gave my lawyer everything. The video. The emails. The fake therapist story. Every text she sent after trying to gaslight me. I filed for full custody. She's still telling people she's in therapy. She even posted some quote about healing in silence on Facebook the other day. I didn't reply. But I saw it. So did her mom. So did her friends. She doesn't know half of what I have planned. After I filed for full custody, she finally snapped. Not publicly, at least not at first. But privately? She went scorched earth. The day she got served, she showed up at the tire shop where I work. Just walked in like she owned the place, red in the face, eyes wide. She had no shame. "You ruined my life," she said in front of my co-workers. I didn't answer. I just walked into the back. She followed. "I want my house key. I want access to my money. You can't just cut me off like I'm nothing." I turned and said it plain: "You made yourself nothing the moment you used me like a bank and laughed about it in my own home." My boss came out, heard the whole thing. He told her to leave. She screamed something about emotional abuse and how I was controlling her. Same words she probably fed Mark to justify the affair. Later that night, I got a message from her sister, Megan. "Hey, she's saying you locked her out illegally. That you took her money and are spreading lies. Can you call me?" I sent Megan the video and screenshots. 10 minutes later, she replied, "Jesus Christ. I had no idea. I'm sorry." That was the first domino. Word spread through her family fast. A few believed her, said I was invading her privacy. But most saw the truth. The next week, I found out she tried to cash out one of our old joint investment accounts. The one we forgot about. It had maybe $4,000 in it. I got a notification from the bank. She somehow guessed my old password. I froze the account that night. The day after, someone egged my truck. Scratched the side. Broke the passenger mirror clean off. I stared at him, trying not to let the rage hit my face. She was poisoning the kids against me. That night, I texted her, "Don't you dare use the kids as shields. I have every message, every voice note, and a clean timeline. If you drag them into this, I will bury you in court." She didn't reply. But the damage was starting. My youngest cried every time he had to go back to her place, even though the court hadn't officially split custody yet. My lawyer filed for an emergency hearing to limit visitation. Said we had proof she was emotionally manipulating them. We submitted transcripts. A statement from my brother. Even drawings my kids made showing mommy and a man upstairs. It was real. It was happening. I was still getting messages from Mark, too. Anonymous accounts. One said, "You think you won, but we're just getting started." Another said, "If you come for her, I'll come for you." I printed every single one. Gave them to the police and my lawyer. Meanwhile, she started playing the victim harder. Posted things online like, "Going through so much right now. Just trying to survive a toxic situation. Pray for me." Her mom commented, "You're so strong." People started unfollowing her quietly. Some asked questions she couldn't answer. Then something I never expected happened. Mark's wife found me. She emailed me. Said she got my info from her husband's Venmo. He'd sent money to my wife under the name Therapy Session. She'd been suspicious for months. One night, while he was in the shower, she unlocked his phone. Found the photos. The same ones I had. She asked if I would talk to her. I did. We sat at a Panera Bread. Two betrayed people just trying to piece it together. She cried halfway through. Said she didn't know what to do. I gave her a flash drive with everything. She gave me one in return. Emails, receipts, texts my wife sent to Mark about how I was too soft and how she got bored with the dad routine. The lies she told in that countermotion weren't just desperate. They were detailed. She made up names. Claimed I had a woman named Kayla I was seeing on the side. Said we'd met at work, had dates in my truck, and that Kayla once called the house. I laughed when I read it. Not because it was funny, but because I hadn't spoken to a woman outside work or family in over a year. There was a Kayla who worked as a receptionist at the tire shop, but she was 19. Engaged. And she barely said 2 words to me. My lawyer was pissed. He told me this was a textbook move, throw everything at the wall and hope something sticks. But he was ready. We had time-stamped records, alibis, and even Kayla herself signed a sworn statement denying any relationship. But now the court had to take both sides seriously. So things slowed down. We were put into a temporary shared custody phase while the investigation continued. That meant I had to let my kids go back to her place every other week. The first week they were gone, I didn't sleep. I got one call from my youngest in the middle of the night. He whispered into the phone, "Daddy, Mommy's friend Mark is here again. He's not nice." That was it. Then the call ended. I drove over. I knew it was risky. But I parked 2 houses down and waited. At 2 a.m., Mark walked out the front door. Got into a black pickup truck. Drove off. The next day, I filed for a supervised visitation request. The judge didn't grant it right away. Said we needed further review. My lawyer pushed harder. Said the child was uncomfortable, there was a known affair partner present, and the whole therapy cover-up added to a pattern of deceit. While all this was happening, Mark's wife reached out again. She'd filed for divorce. She told me something new. Apparently, after she confronted Mark and he moved out, he started showing up at her job. Waiting in the parking lot. Sending her messages like, "You don't get to leave me." She had filed a restraining order. Then, about 2 weeks later, I found out something that took this whole mess into another level. Mark had a record. In 2011, he had a charge for assault. Nothing big enough to lock him away, but enough to paint a picture. He'd pushed a former girlfriend during an argument. She never followed through on the charges. But it was there. And somehow, my wife had let this man be around our kids. I printed everything. I gave it to my lawyer and said, "I want him nowhere near my children." Meanwhile, my wife kept pushing her victim act. She posted a selfie on Facebook wearing sunglasses and a long caption, "It's hard when the world turns against you. But I will rise above. I know my truth." I wanted to scream. Instead, I posted one thing, a calm, collected post with no names. Sometimes people lie so much they forget who they are. I won't say much, but I will say this, my kids deserve better. And I won't stop until they're safe. I didn't tag her. Didn't mention the affair. But everyone knew. Her family stopped reaching out. Except Megan. Her sister. She called me late one night and said, "She's gone off the rails. Mom is worried. She talks about revenge. She says you're trying to destroy her life." I said, "She destroyed it herself." And then Megan said something that changed everything. She told me she's pregnant. Says it's yours. I didn't say anything. Just sat there. She said she's going to use it to stop the court stuff. To show you're still involved. I hadn't touched my wife in 4 months, maybe more. Not since before she started therapy. We barely spoke by then. There was no chance. The next day, my lawyer and I requested a court-ordered paternity test, filed it under the ongoing custody and divorce case. We included everything, the false affair claim, the emotional manipulation of the kids, and now this. My lawyer said, "She's trying to trap you. This isn't about the baby, it's about leverage. She wants to delay the court, force mediation, make you look unstable." I nodded. I was done being quiet. Then came the worst week yet. I got served with a temporary restraining order. She claimed I was threatening her. Said I'd shown up at her house uninvited, that night Mark was there. Said I was stalking her, endangering her pregnancy. She submitted the ring cam footage, except it only showed me parked down the street. It was enough for the judge to sign the temporary order. For a week, I wasn't allowed to contact her or get within 200 feet of the house, even to pick up my kids. All exchanges had to be made by her mother. It crushed me. But it also gave me space to move in silence. While she was making up lies, I was collecting truth. I hired a private investigator. Not to stalk her. Just to verify patterns. Where she went. Who she was really with. I wanted a clear picture in case she tried anything again. The PI delivered fast. He caught Mark coming and going from her house on 3 different days. One of those days, she claimed to be hospitalized for stress. The photos showed her and Mark carrying takeout and laughing on the porch. She wasn't sick. She wasn't scared. She was scheming. We submitted the photos to the judge, along with the fact that she'd told multiple people, including Megan, that the baby might not be mine, depending on how the timing works out. The judge ordered the paternity test. She refused at first. Then filed a motion to delay it. That's when I dropped the next bomb. When people try to deny the life growing inside you, remember, their fear is louder than your truth. Her followers were down to a handful. Most people had either muted or blocked her by then. Then, just days before the test was scheduled, Mark's wife contacted me again. "Have you heard?" she wrote. "Heard what?" Mark's under investigation at work. Someone reported him for inappropriate behavior with a client. I blinked. Client? Yeah. Apparently your wife tried to hire his landscaping crew. The business never took the job. But the emails she sent were suggestive. She sent me screenshots. My wife had emailed Mark using a fake name, Angela, and asked for a private quote for a more intimate backyard space. She included a selfie in a bikini. And her real name was clearly visible in the photo file. This woman wasn't just lying, she was reckless. Embarrassing. Dangerous. I called my lawyer again. Asked if we could use it to prove she was unfit, not just as a liar but as someone willing to risk everything for a man with a known record. He said yes. Stack it. All of it. This court is going to see who she really is. The next week, the DNA results came back. Not mine. My lawyer forwarded it to the judge's clerk. At this point, the court started talking about psychological evaluations. She'd told too many lies. Changed her story too many times. And now, the system was finally catching up to her. But even then, I knew she wasn't done. Because a woman like her doesn't go down without setting fire to everything around her first. 2 weeks after the paternity test proved the baby wasn't mine, her world started falling apart fast. The court ruled in my favor for temporary full custody. Her visitation was cut down to weekends only, supervised. She cried in court. Claimed I was turning the kids against her. The judge wasn't buying it anymore. Then came the real storm. Mark's wife filed for a restraining order against both of them. She had texts from my wife threatening her, saying things like, "You had your chance," and "He was never yours." The landscaping company fired Mark. Not for the affair, though that sure didn't help, but because a client, my wife, under her real name this time, had accused another worker of stealing. That claim fell apart instantly when they pulled security footage. No theft. Just lies. More lies. And then the bomb dropped. My wife was caught forging a medical bill. See, back when she was trying to delay the court hearings, she submitted a hospital statement claiming she'd been admitted for stress and high blood pressure. Said she was under doctor's orders not to attend court. But the hospital never issued that letter. It was fake. She'd downloaded a template online and filled it in herself. I don't know who reported it, but the court found out. Suddenly, she wasn't just a liar. She was a liar who forged a legal document. And that made her a criminal. He vanished. After his wife filed charges for harassment, he skipped town. Deleted his social media. No one's seen him since. Last I heard, he was couch hopping in Ohio. He never showed up for the paternity follow-up. The court issued a default ruling giving the child's legal responsibility to him. Whether he pays or not. That's her new problem. I didn't come out of this clean, though. The court asked why I waited to act when I knew what was going on. Why I stayed silent. Why I let the kids keep visiting her during that time. I told the truth. I said, I was broken. I thought I could handle it quietly. I thought I could protect them without a scene. I was wrong. The judge looked at me hard and said, "Next time, don't wait to protect your children. You saw what she was. You let it go too long." I nodded. He was right. That was the part one had to live with. I let love blind me. I let routine replace truth. I paid for her therapy, held our home together, gave her space, and let her make me the fool. But not anymore. I got the house back. I got my kids back. I rebuilt the finances. I'm not dating. I'm not trying to fix what's broken. I'm focused on being a good father, and making sure no one ever walks over me again. She still posts cryptic quotes. Still plays the victim. But now she does it from a rental room in her cousin's basement, no car, no job, no Mark, no money. And the baby? Born a month early. Mark never showed up to sign the birth certificate. She's on her own now. Funny how therapy was the one thing she never actually went to. Because now? She actually needs it.